overflow. So the overflow property specifies what to do with the content that overflows out of a element that's too big for it. So if you have a div that's 100 pixels tall and your content is 200 pixels tall, how do you manage that extra 100 pixels? So we'll do some examples of that today. Alright, so I'm just going to copy a lorem ipsum paragraph in here that's pretty big. Okay, and then I have my normal mini reset line in here just to make things a little bit easier. So I have this paragraph, and we're going to set, well, first I'll set a width on it so it's not taking up the whole screen. So I'll just do 500 pixels. We'll do background color so you can see it. Okay, so just a normal paragraph. So what happens if I set this height of this paragraph to 100 pixels? So what happened is this is 100 pixels here, and this content is going to take up, I don't know what that is, maybe 150 pixels or so. So the rest of it, this overflow, is just going out of the div, or out of the paragraph, and displaying anyway. So by default, this element has an overflow property of visible. So this is the default here. I spelled default wrong. But this is configurable. So say I wanted to hide it. I could do hidden, and now you can't see it. So you cut off that amount past the height of this 100 pixels. You could change it to scroll. And what this does, as you can probably guess, is add scroll bars onto it. So it added one this way and this way, despite the fact that you only really need one this way. So if you want it to still have the scrolling capability where needed, but only display if you actually need the scrolling capability, you can change this to auto. So now that scroll bar was removed from horizontally because it fit horizontally, and it's still visible this way. So why would you actually ever need this? One example is if you wanted to make a slideshow. So let's get some images in here. Get my tried and true corgi. So, oh, that's cute. Alright, 4 images, and we're going to wrap them in a div. Okay, so we got 4 images in a div here. Give this a class. And we're going to make a very, very simple slideshow, manual slideshow. One thing I want to do is get rid of this white space in between these images. So I'm just going to float them left. Okay, so now they're all lined up there. Now each of these images are 250 pixels wide. What's nice about this corgi site is whatever you put here, 250, if I change that, see now it's going to display at 350, so I'll keep them at 250 for now. But I'm going to set these slides, the width of these slides here, equal to the total width of all the images together. So 250 times 4 would be 1,000 pixels. Okay? And so now nothing changed. I mean, you have this 4 images, each 250 pixels wide, in a box that is 1,000 pixels wide. If I just want to display one of these images, I need to wrap this whole thing in another div. So let's just tab that over. So I'm trying to force an overflow. Do slide wrapper. I'm going to add some CSS. Alright, so the content that we're trying to cause the overflow on is 1,000 pixels, but if we only want to show one image at a time, we want to set the width of this whole container to be 250 pixels, just enough space for one image. So, okay, height 250 pixels. I guess you don't need the height because they're all 150 pixels. Okay, but nothing changed because even though the width of this wrapper is now only going to be going to here because I set that width, the overflow by default on here is set to visible, so it's going to display anyway. So if I change overflow here, say I want to make it auto. Now I have one image displaying, but if I do this, now you can see all four of them. So this is a very simple way that you could start a slideshow. So it doesn't do anything. I mean, you could add, CSS has animations, which we probably won't get to in this class, but I recommend looking up. But you could set this to scroll through these, or if you're on a mobile device, you could probably just click on the image, I think. You'd have to try it, and scroll through them. So that's a little example of how Overflow works. If you have any questions on that, please let me know in Teams, or leave a comment or an email. All right, thanks.